There we go. I'm getting the hang of this. So today what we're going to be doing is we're going to be looking at how to prepare or code against to defend if we get some input, some bad input from the user. Been really trying to figure out how I want to describe this. But the project manager I was working with, my partner, he called it defensive programming. So I thought that was a good way to think about it. Let's see how the color is today. How do I look today? Well, about the same. And now it's really, really cloudy outside. I don't know if you can hear the air vent or the dehumidifier I have going on in the background. So, all right. So, a big problem that we're going to have. Oops, I copied this. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That solved our problem, and it did. So, our big problem that we have to deal with is tracking our last response. So what in my head is if we get an answer, the response, there we go. If we get a response, how do we gauge if this response is what we're expecting? Ooh, that silver can made everything look really, really, really weird. Okay. So let's go through this visually, because this is how I wished I do not have a pen, and I don't think I can. Do I have paint? Let's see. Can I get paint pulled up over here? Paint. See how well I can draw with a mouse, or write with a mouse. I don't think I can write really well with a mouse at all, and I can't even see. There we go. Oh, that's a bad background. Can I write with a mouse? I can't. Back. 1, 2. That's not bad. It's not great either. Can I do 3? That kind of looks like a 3. All right, so if we have our number line, and then we guess here our endpoint, and then our guess, and then our last guess, high, or our last low point. There we go. Our last low point and our last high point. I really think that's the way we're going to need to attack this. You didn't get the notification. All right, well, I did move the stream up. Are you on your phone, or are you on your desktop, Nico? Just curious. All right. So I want to attack this problem. No notification. All right. Desktop. That's really weird, because some people are getting notifications on their phone and some are getting them on their desktop. So I'm very perplexed. I know Dax, they shared when they got up, or when they got going, they went to YouTube and then checked the notification. I think Dax was on their phone. I think. All right, my old PC got nuked, so I'm on a desktop. I get it. I get it. Okay. So, and again, we can do this together because I almost thought about, wait, I think laptop. Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Foldable. Let's see. A small computer. You can pick it up, move it around. Lap. My wife makes fun of me that I say laptop instead of laptop. Sorry. I haven't been up too super long. Laptop. There we go. All right, let me move this back over here. Put that in front of the stream. Okay. I'm on those computers that you can move them further without that big box. Yep. Laptop. All right. So last, we'll call it LL. Last low. Last high. So we need to track that. So we need to come up with some new variables. Cool. That is awesome. All right. So we're going to call it last high equals 0. No, I don't know what all these suggestions are these days that I'm getting. I'm not. And then last, that's last high, and last low equals 0. All right. So when would we need to utilize this? So this is a perfect case of order of operations and where it needs to go. That's everything. So we need to do human brain first, and then we can go and do Python brain. I'm so sorry, guys. Don't mean to be coughing in y'all's speakers. Huh? Okay. So if I get, let's just go through this. So our first guess, 1 to 20, our boundaries are 11 and 20, and we move it to 21 to get our high, because we handled that because that we're doing our division. So we know this works. So then our first guess is 11, because that's our halfway point. And we can do, nope, it will have already changed. All right. So then when we give a low answer, too low, it will move over here. So then our low becomes our guess. All right. Bingo. Here we go. Do I get money from my videos? Yes, but not very much. I think last month I made $12. So not very much at all. A few years ago, maybe I would, because back when I was really making, so what happened is the channel was growing pretty well, and I was getting 700 or 800 views a day. So that was pretty good. I was on a pretty good path, and I took a break because I was trying to focus on the Code Dam platform. So I was building courses for them because I really thought that would take off. It's a pretty large, because a lot of my views were coming out of India, and that platform is based in India, and the founder is in India, and he and I chatted and had quite a few meetings, and he was very interested in my Python videos. So he asked me to build some courses. So I was like, absolutely, I'd be very happy to. So I thought that if I did that, then the conversion rate would be very high from either way, people coming from the YouTube channel over to Codenam or vice versa. And in those couple of months, the views dropped drastically, and I've never really gotten them back. So that was frustrating. So I guess in this past week with me working on this, I've been trying to build back up some things. So all right. Okay. So back to where we are right now. So, okay. Let's use this case example of if it's too low, and we're going to remove all of these, and we're going to move our low. We're going to move our low up to move it up to here. Then I need to well, do I have a person to edit my videos? I just edit them. But I've had this discussion with both of my sons. I don't think the editing is the problem. I just think the overall contents and how I approach things is that, and I guess maybe possibly thumbnails. But I don't know. Though marketing is not my strong suit. But I appreciate that, but I don't think editing is the, I know where you're going, that I need to spend more time editing, but it just doesn't, the evidence doesn't seem to be that way. My click-through, because what my real issue is the impressions and my click-through rate. So they'd have to get to the video to get to even watch it. So I understand what you're saying. All right, so we move our guess here. And then our low guess, it needs to stagger. It needs to be one level behind because it needs to hang back. So let's do this. So if this is, we're just going to do the case of the low. So the response equals too low. The low becomes the new guess. But then also, what we go last low equals, then we need to figure out where are we going to be testing this. Okay. Then low becomes, and again, this all is going to be order of operations. So let's, because I can already see, let's see. Sorry. Trying to keep. Looked at some of your videos and they seemed very unedited, and there's a lot of things that make people click on videos to keep watching and don't click off. Very true. Very true. All right. So we need to assign low. Guess equals low. So we need to have this before. All right. Before we change this, this needs to go. And this becomes low. So we're reassigning because we want to do this before. So now our last low becomes becomes low, and then our guess becomes low. Does that make sense? Everybody following that? Let's come over here. Let's grab this. Move this back. That's too much. I know everybody's probably freaking out. There's probably better uses. There we go. Put it right there. And then low will become our last low, LL. There we go. Okay, so let's move this. That's not good. Here, and then now we said last low. Last low comes up here. All right. Now, where in the world would we check this? So we need to check and make sure, because now that's low, and then our next guess will be 16. Yes. All right. So our next guess will be 16. Let's change this. No. Let's change that to there. All right. Let's get rid of that. That's just a space. Bring this back. All right. So here we go. Last low, our low, and our next guess will be 16. So what would we do if somebody says, let's go through this. If somebody says it's too high. All right. So then they come here. It's still too high. So we need to have a test for let's go through this. All right. So we changed that a little bit. Let's run this right here. Let's do our use case. All right, F9. So starting point, ending point. So it is too low, it's too high, and too high. So right now, that should be it. And it can't go any lower. So this is where it should test. And it should have an answer. You've given us bad information. This can't be too high. Because, all right, because you told us, I don't know if we want to count. So, all right, this can't be too high because of an earlier answer. Ooh, there we go. All right, so it can't be too high if the response is high. Haha, now we're getting it. If your response okay, let's check and see where these are. So guess is 11. Low is response. No, what am I doing? Low is 11. All right, so this is going to be good. So it needs to be right here. So let's think about this. And then if it's low, and then our guess, if our guess and our last low, because this is only moved once. We've only assigned this once. Have you guys seen infinity or negative infinity and positive infinity? I did a video on that a while back, and that is very handy to this type of problem. Let me look and see where I used it. Because right now this is actually 100% incorrect. Because these endpoints are wrong. Python Oh, that's funny. It just started to type in Python and it came up Python and Minecraft. All right. Infinity. Infinity numbers. So let's just kind of dig into this for a second. There's positive infinity and positive infinity and negative infinity. And you might say, why in the world are you doing this? And I know I had an example. I'm trying to remember the documentation. Is it in math? Import dir math. Everybody's seen the math module. Infinity, and then let's see. Right, isn't that? Let's see. Math dot infinity. Yeah. Where's negative infinity? N A B C D E. Is Dan is infinity? No. No. It's not that, is it? Yeah, okay. I completely forgot. All right, have you guys seen, let's see, what do you think of built-in function overwrite, like print equals some function without symbols at the end, I mean. Nico, I'm sorry, I'm not quite following you. What do you think about a built-in function overwriting? You want to overwrite the print function? You want to create your own function? I'm just want to make sure I'm following. And then after I answer that, we'll go back to the infinity and what we're doing here. Okay. You think on that. All right, does everybody understand why we need to use infinity and to make this correct? We need to, well, we could come in here and assign them to both, but since we're here, negative infinity and positive infinity. So you have to assign something to what if I make it so the print function calls something else instead of what the default built-in? I guess I can't think of a use case, but if that's something you need to use, then yeah, sure, why not? But again, I guess I can't think of an example of where I might need to do that. But yeah, I think it's a great experiment. I mean, to try to do something to solve a problem that you have, I highly encourage that. Just do that. All right. So we need to make this math. Oh, first I need to import. Let's import math. Math. And then high is math dot infinity. And low is negative math dot infinity. All right. So what I'm doing here is I'm setting my two endpoints in the background to extreme ends, because when you're chopping off the endpoints to find in the middle, what happens if you only used like negative 10 trillion and the other person's endpoint was negative 11 trillion, then your entire flow, your entire order of operations would fail. So, but when you use infinity and negative infinity, you don't have any issues like that because it is set to extreme endpoints. So anything smaller than infinity, which is any number, those will now become the two endpoints. I actually don't know. Well, you want to do infinity minus 1? Okay. Actually, you try it. I don't want to crash my computer and you tell me what the result is. So I've never done that, and I'm on a stream, so I don't know what kind of memory use that's gonna eat up. I'm at 43% right now. Oh, just jumped up to 44. So I really don't want to be dealing with that. My air conditioner is freezing me right now, so I went and put on sweatpants, and it is the middle of summer here. Let's see. Okay, so we got some people dropping in. Hope everybody's doing well today. Let's see. Okay, so in this example, if the person is saying that it is too high, and right, is that our use case? So I was saying the answer is too high, and the guess is 11, or our new low. It just does nothing. That's what I was worried if it was still setting there. Okay, so we know now. All right. So let's see. All right. So too high. So if the guess is the same as the low, and it is too high, then we have to. I tried math. Okay, you tried math. You tried infinity minus infinity, and it returned none. Yep, that actually makes sense to me mathematically. But I am intrigued by the upper math echelons. All right, and then I've heard about sizes. It's just none. So here. No, help. It's like a nan, none, a null value. So math.nan. I know, but it's yeah, they're all the same. So it's the way that a computer, so nan, if I remember, came about from I can't remember. NumPy made it very popular. It's just like a not an imaginary number, but I'm trying to remember that now. We're stretching my math skills and my math memory, but it's just a not number. It's just a not number. And because there has to be an output, but it also doesn't have to be. Think of calculus as you approach, like if you're doing like a derivative, as you approach zero, you approach infinity, right? Well, it's the same concept, but there has to be an answer. Probably just fell into the bucket because of a float, because it's not an int. So everything that's not an int has to go to a float. We are really heading quickly out of my my math. I've always logarithms, all of those always challenged me in math, and that was why I probably didn't do well in the beginnings of my engineering classes in physics. I loved physics. I loved the math of physics and chemistry, but when we started getting into that type of math, it became too much for me, and I just couldn't do it. So all right, I just pulled this up. Let's get this over here. All right. Let's get back to this and see if we can solve this. All right. So let's rerun this so we can get it back here. There we go. F9. Starting point 120. Continue. It is too low. Now we're going to say it's all too high, right? Too high, too high, too high. Now, this one right here, this should be throwing up because it has the same response. So, all right. Last low, so we need to think about this. So our last low and our low. So we reassigned low. Let's do low and last low is 1. So how can it be too high if our low is... Hey, we're doing this together. If anybody has any suggestions, I purposefully have not looked at this and thought about this. I know where we need to be. Let's see. What does that print out, Nico? That's interesting. Oh, anybody? Let's see. Okay, what does that print out? Is that padding? What did you assign cool to be? Let me get back to the stream. Whoa. There we go. What did you assign cool to be? Oh, what we're working on is a guessing program if we're getting bad input from the user. So, okay. Cool is at, I don't know, 10 million? Okay. Cool equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There we go. Oh, yeah. Okay. So you did padding. Yes. That is absolutely awesome. I remember when I first saw this. It is very interesting. And then, oh my goodness. And then the padding before and after. I remember I saved all of the formatting for all of those because I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to remember this. All right, I may get up in a minute to get another water. All right, and it may start to get. Try the second one. Okay. Did you send that in Discord too? Okay, grabbing it right now. Yes. And commas. There's a whole one for commas as well. And I remember that took because like right here when we do cool doesn't have commas. It does not default to commas. Yeah, 100 million. All right. All right. So sorry, we may get a little loud around here because we're going to start having some activity. Let's see. Sorry. We have kids and then there's some kids' friends over. What if you do cool equals Python still accepts it and you can read it? Yes. So Python understands that and commas. If I remember, you can enter it. Let's see, X. If I remember, you can enter that. It takes it, but then it drops. Oh, no, it builds a tuple. All right. Yeah, does everybody get that? So this is actually one little hack so you can throw something in. So check this out. Let's read. Let's do this. So I do that, but then check this out. I can just drop in this comma, and it goes, "Hey, I understand you know what you're doing," and it builds me this. It builds this as a tuple. I remember the first time I saw this, I just absolutely freaked out. I'm like, how does it know how to do that? But it's built in. So don't forget that Python is a program in and of itself. And it has rules, and it has syntax, and it has things that it has to abide by. So it's just another program that happens to be where you can program. So don't forget that piece. I hate that I cannot hit the live button, so I do not know. I'm 39 seconds delayed, and now that it's scheduled, I can't make it live on the output. That's the only thing I do not like. All right, okay. So I digress. So we need to get back to here. So we need to have a problem right here that if we're getting bad input and we can get stuck in a loop, that when we get H, it's too high, but if we get where H, and we need to think through this. So our last guess tried to make a compiler like 3 times 4, and it failed. You tried to make a compiler like a program, like a compiler. So no, I have never even tried to do. Now let's see. 3 or 4 times and failed. So, are you doing it? Are you doing it to do it, or you're intrigued by it? Because want to make sure. Because if you need it, so I've made comments about this before. Is that's having to do something is. You're right. Okay, you tried to make a compiler. Got it. Because I doubt you probably needed it, so you probably just wanted to do it. So what I would challenge everyone here is make something that you need, like you really need it. Because if you need it, you won't give up on it, and there's just that extra push that's going to get you over the hump. So it's always going to be on your mind, and this, because it is very hard to push yourself to do something that you want to. But if you need to do it, it just really unlocks. There's a piece of human nature that just unlocks your mind and your effort. It kind of goes back to Sun Tzu. I really want to have my own community of people that use your programming language. Okay, well that is extremely cool. Now, but it's so hard to make programming. It is. So let's kind of go back to this. What is your programming language going to do that other programming languages don't do? So what problem are you trying to solve? That's vital. So if there's a problem and there's a group of people, so you can go back a step. So how about you say because you can start building a community of people who have a problem with something, and they'll flock to you. I mean, start a Reddit page, but it needs to be something you're trying to solve that everybody else has the same problem. And if there is a gap in a language that you and a large group of individuals, everybody complains about, then 100% you're gonna have a very easy time solving that problem, because there are going to be other people trying to wanting you and giving suggestions. Because do you guys know the history of Python? I'm just curious. Do you know how Python came about? It solved gaps in. I don't know a lot about compiler language. Do I almost the right thing? Do different syntax. There's a lot of compiler languages that do almost the same thing. Right. That's my. You just made my point. So, how could you get people to come to your language if it's just like everything else? So don't get hung up. Don't try to solve a problem that's not there. So let's just take my channel for example. It's very, very small. I completely understand that. But it came out of a necessity for me, and I assumed for others, that there were these huge gaps between these online courses, these college courses, that you'd start at step 1, and then the teacher would become very impatient, and then they'd jump to step 20. And I was like, whoa, how do we get from step 1 to step 20? And it just didn't make sense to me. I mean, we'd start, let's see, we'd start here, and then like the MIT class, it was like enter, that's supposed to be name, that is awful. Okay, that's better. I need to get a pen. I think I do. Am I yellow yet? Nico, I feel like I'm starting to get yellow. Okay. So it was like make an input function to take your name, and then it would print. So, and then over here, it was the chicken nuggets. I'm not even going to be able to spell chicken nuggets. We'll just draw one. The chicken nugget combination. And then after this, it turned into logarithmic functions. And I didn't even have a way to validate it because I was having, it just became so absurd. But this gap in between this print function and the chicken nuggets, and I think right here was the prime number. And I was like, okay, I can figure out this. Has everybody done that challenge to find like the 100th prime number? Let's see. Your back, my back is yellow and green. Okay, let's see if I can. I think I need to go get another light today because this is getting bad. Let's turn this down. That's the front, and here's the side light. Is that better? It's got 3 colors to it. Look at that one. That's like an orange light. There we go. Let's turn them both back up. That one, because the camera does some weird stuff too. So if I move, it'll refocus and it'll change everything. So have you guys tried to solve, Nico, I think you'd get a lot more out of it if you tried to solve finding prime numbers. Working through those for loops and cataloging. All right, I'll look into that. Thank you. Yeah, I know. That's a personality trait. That's a defect about my personality is that I know I need to do this. It just seems silly, but it's a quality thing that I'm putting out a bad quality product of that I look yellow. So I know I need to bite the bullet and do it, but it's just one of those things that's just so challenging for me to do. So if I do this, how yellow do I get? I get very yellow. All right. Let me see if I can sit still. All right. Let's bring this down. But have you done, Nico, have you tried writing a function to find a prime number and then try to find like the 100th or the 1000th prime number? It's a very interesting exercise, and it makes you think about things and order of operations, decisions, and going from there. So, all right. Okay, let's get back over here. So we've got to find a way Sure. Absolutely. If you have a solution, let's send it to me in Discord and let's look at it. We can go from there. Because like I said, I want to do this together. I've never tried to solve in a live session, but why not? All right. And I want everybody to have the opportunity to try to be here and do things together and build a community. All right. I need to look at something. Okay, let me make it because I know I want to move that window. All right, hang on. I think you typed something. You typed it in chat. Okay. Okay, let me make it because I'm only thinking. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we can experiment and see what happens. I think we're at 45 minutes right now. Oh, and I'm already starting to get a bunch of rejection emails. You heard a message sound? Yeah. Let me turn. I thought I turned down my speaker. I know I have the input on the desktop turned off on my OBS, but sometimes I still forget. I should make a checklist of everything I need to do before I start my live stream, and I might have to start putting a jacket on the weekends because everybody's here, and I have the air still turned down really low, and I'm freezing, and because I'm right under a vent, and it's it's killing me. All right, so while Nico's working on their solution, let's see if we can go back through this. All right, let's clear this. All right, let's start back over. So we have our number line. We have our high. We have our low. We have our guess. Okay. Then, if we get the response of, we'll do it over here. If we get too low, we move low here. That was awful. That is not an L. We move low here. So this becomes last low. That was awful. Last low. Then if we get too high, then this is our guess. Then this becomes high. Then guess. This becomes high. And it's when our guess and So it's going to be here. So if our response is H and our guess H, and then if our guess equals low, we may not have to do last low. Low, then print, and then we need to break out of here. Okay, print. Ooh, and then we need to start over and reassign everything. So let's try this. Okay. Would you like to start over? Should it be you gave a wrong answer. You gave a wrong answer. You gave a wrong answer, comma, would you like to start over? All right, let's think about this. If you get high, if you get H, and then the guess equals low, which that would happen. So we don't even really need here yet. So let's see what happens. F9. Okay. We got 120. Continue. Too low. Too high. Too high. Too high. Too high. Okay. All right. You gave a wrong answer. Would you like to start over? So now we have to have a new path and this is where order of operations is so important. So we would need to come over here and break out and figure out a way, because then we would need to get all of these things back in here. So we would need to, inside of this, we would need all of these prompts right here, because it's the order of operations, because this will only happen. Sorry, I thought I heard people moving. Okay, sorry. Like I said, people are starting to move around at my house. It may get really loud here in a little bit. And I got stuff to do. Probably I'm going to have to drop in maybe, I guess if I drop in an hour. I did start early. All right. So now, would I like to start over? I would need to, I guess I technically wouldn't need to break. Then let's see. I would need, the answer is still false. Let's see what happens. Okay, let's exit here. Let's get a copy of this. And then end here, paste. And actually, this needs to be an input. Let's just assume that they do want to start, because we need to handle that too. Whoa, no. Okay. So I want you to think about that for a second. This actually needs to be an input line, because we just asked them a question. But right now, it jumped all the way to here. And we need to sit here and go, yes, no, if yes, do all this. If no, thank you for playing. But we're going to assume that they're going to want to do that. So let's try this again. Let's see how we're doing. All right, everybody following me so far of what we're doing? All right. Too low, too high, too high, too high, too high. There we go. You gave a wrong answer. Would you like to start over? There we go. Okay, that was a lot easier than I thought. So now let's handle this right here. This needs to be an input. Restart. Let's slide this over here so everybody can see. And let's bring this. All right, cool. And this down here. Restart equals input. Would you like to start over? And then all of this needs to be moved. And then if restart lower, would you like to start over? Let's do Y. Yes. No. Why can't I? There we go. No. Okay. If restart lower equals yes, then move all that over. And then else break. And let's do thank you for playing. Print thank you for playing. Da 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 da. La di 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 do. All right, everybody following this so far? Let me read my little texty messages. Okay. La 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 la. All right, let's bring this back over here. 20 and yes and correct. Ooh, now something has changed because so let's look at this. Our first guess is always 11. And aha, this needs to be moved here. Order of operations. Okay. Correct. All right. Does everybody see what I just did? So I was in this loop and I was handling this endpoint problem outside of our loop. So once I was handling all of these new restarting inside the loop, this endpoint was outside, so it was not being done. So I first noticed this because my first guess is always 11. And when we just started this over, the first guess was 10. So I knew, well, wait a minute. Okay, what was happening? Oh, yeah, this endpoint problem. So maybe all these are for naught. But you are going to have an example of extreme endpoints, and you're going to pick an arbitrary number, and you're going to enter a large number. And what happens if somebody is a smart aleck and or is QA and is testing something, and they're like, all right, I want to enter 19 billion. Well, if it isn't infinity and you've only set it to 2 million, then that whole process will fail. So all right, let's get rid of a lot of these. let's see, does this all fit now? And there we go. And F9. Let's see how we're doing. Starting point of 1, end point of 20. All right, so cool. Problem solved. This is working. It's too low. Now let's check. Too high. Sorry about that. Don't know why my news feed decided to pop up. So too high. Too high. Too high. Too high. All right, so we have a problem. So it caught it last time, but it did not catch it this time. Let's go and see if we can problem solve and see why this wasn't caught and why this isn't hitting our loop. Because right here, so we have an issue. So if we're saying high and the guess is high and guess is the same as low, but right now it's not hitting. Anybody seeing what I might be missing? Okay, so let's do correct. Let's test and see. So low, what is low right now? And what is guess? 12. Okay, so why? Okay. Oh, okay. So problem. So this is a perfect example of order of operations. I'm moving my high point every time, so my guess will never be. So this is not quite the right spot. So this needs to happen outside and down here. So let's go back. Everybody see that? So I need to cut, paste, and then end, paste. Everybody follow me with that? So I need this in 2 places now. Because what I was doing is I was creating a problem, and every time through, because every time this you react and give an answer, I was moving. So this was supposed to get to 11, and I'll never get to 11 because my high point is moving. So all right, let's try this again. All right, F9. Start point, end point. All right. Too low, too high, too high, too high, too high. Aha. Bingo. There we go. So, too high is your number 11. Please enter blah blah blah. You have guessed you gave a wrong answer. Would you like to start over? Yes. Ooh, we need to fix that. I do not like that. Does everybody know why this is doing this? So that's not very clear. And that should that should not have happened. And apparently I have this backwards. Okay. Okay, so let's solve one thing at a time. All right. So the reason why that my answer was sitting on top of this N was because I needed to have a space here so it looks nice and clean. And I defended against if the user gave me, and we can also do this. Oh, one of the other ones that is very cool is what happens if they typed yes. So, or anything or yep. So we could actually slice this and take the response lower and slice off an index 0. So take the first letter of the response. I like doing that. So, all right. So if yes and low are here, so let's see what I did. So if restart dot lower the first letter of restart, lowering it, if it is equal to y, then here, 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 and it should just come right back up here. So let's go through this. But what it did is it did this and then did thank you for playing. Thanks for playing. Thank you for playing. That should not have happened because else was not initiated while handling bad input is harder than I thought. Yeah. At least I got a count function. Oh, lambdas are good. Yeah. Look, I promise you, these are the things you need to focus on. Because I promise, when you get a job or whatever you want to do, I promise you're going to spend time doing this. How about we give an example of my previous role back at the warehouse as an area manager. I was responsible for moving around $1 million worth of freight out of the building a day, just on my side of the building. Do you know what I focused on? Ensuring that people were in a good mood and were following all the best practices to keep themselves safe. And if I did that, everything else happened by itself. So there's an old saying, and I've coined it down to something, but there's an old saying about money, but I've extrapolated it. It's an old English saying. Part of my lineage goes back to England. But watch the pennies and the pounds take care of themselves. My version of it is focus on the details, and the details will take care of you. So if you focus on every single step, this right here, how to make sure, if we get hyper-focused here, then the entire application or program will run. And if you get as granular as you want to get, and here's another new obsession that I've started. I started jiu-jitsu about a year ago. Actually, I guess 14 months ago. And what you become, if you're old like me, you become very obsessed with the subtleties. We just did something last night. No, today's Saturday, because that's actually where I'm going to wrap up here in about an hour and then head to jiu-jitsu. So let's see. I need to go and feed the dogs. If anybody jumps in and be like, hey, where is Sam? I need to go do that. Hang on. Let me answer my wife. Yepers. So tell everybody I'll be back in like 3 minutes, okay? So nobody go anywhere. I need to go do that, and then I will be right. And it's going to get really loud. We have 3 dogs, and there's one who is a spaz, and he barks. He cheers me on the entire time I'm getting their food around. All right, so I'll be right back. I think I can do it in 3 minutes. Bye, guys. Nope, not bye. Just be right back. Let everybody know. Nico, let everybody know where I am. Okay, is everybody still here? Yeah. Give me give me a few more. Appreciate it, Nico. Thank you. A couple more minutes. I gotta give them their medicine and then put them out, and I'll bring back some my water, and then we'll be able to finish for about another hour. Sorry, everybody, I'm coming. Oh, did you guys hear the dogs? Yeah. It, quite crazy. I need to get my wife her coffee, and then I'll be back. Sorry, this is taking longer than I thought, everybody. I'm coming, guys. promise I'm almost back. Okay. So were you able to hear? Because I've always wondered how bad or how good the mic is to pick up everything on the back end of the house. So, because one was in the kitchen barking. All right. And let's see if I can get the color. That's medium. Okay. Okay, Nico. Everybody ready? So this path is bad. So let's see what we can do about it. Okay. All right. All right, everybody. Sorry. We need to come up with a better plan on the weekend. I thought that was... Thank you, Nico. I appreciate it. Make sure you like and subscribe. I love it. Okay. All right. So this is bad. So let's go through this. And look, I'm kind of bearing my soul here because I would have not done this 2 years ago. But when you're writing and problem solving, I mean, this is logic. This is what this is. I remember I had to get my old partner to help me find a bug, and what we found, you were able to hear. Okay, all right, yeah, and that now there were two barking. One was more further on the other side of the house. He goes and cheerleads when I'm getting his food around, and then that gets the bigger one. So we got three. We got a teeny tiny one, a medium one, and a larger one. He's lost some weight, but he's still about like 55 pounds. So he's a pretty big dude, and he looks formidable. He's like a, I don't know, not a mastiff, but I need to find a photo and give it to you guys. But he's a happy dog. He's a little bit of a, he's got a lot of all of our dogs have a lot of personality. So all right, I digress. But we need to fix this. So this has a bad path because this goes. So we have this solved. It's jumping here, and we're getting our restart, but it still came down and hit this. So let's figure why this is wrong. Let's rerun this. Does that work? Really? Nope. All right. Come up here. F9. Starting point. 120. Continue. All right. It is too low. It is too high. Too high. Too high. Too high. All right. So we know this is working. We get to here. So if our low, we've triggered this. So we're right here on this line right here. So we're about to get our no, or we're about to get yes. So let's go through and see. We're resetting. Anybody got any guesses? Because now I already know. So I need to reset low and high. Oh, we did do that. We are doing that. We're resetting low and high. So it should come right back up here because we're not breaking out of the loop. The loop should come straight back up here and do high, low, and give us a new guess. But I'm missing a step. Yes. Thanks for playing. So it is still continue. Thank you for playing. So we're hitting else. Reset. Let's restart. Anybody see what I'm doing? You catch it? Oh my God, he accidentally ate some nail paint. Yeah, that is awful. That is absolutely awful. So anybody see what I was doing? Because I was not paying attention. And this is what I want to do, is I want to draw the curtain back of what happens when somebody is actually programming. And my nerves are pretty okay programming in front of the audience. I would not have done this a few years ago. Absolutely not. But live coding is bad. So now pretty sure that I just caught everything. So let's try this again. F9. So continue. Let's see. We went too low, too high, too high, too high. I need to check something. All right. And too high. There we go. All right. So here we are. Here's our test. And I guess Y is a variable and it wasn't throwing up. We need to figure out what Y was. All right. So Y. Perfect. So here we are. It has worked. So we actually didn't need any of these. So, all right, so we caught that. So now let's see if this should work. So it should be the inverse. So we actually don't need this one. Let's just go and do the inverse of this and see if this works. Did that make sense to everybody? Does everybody get how I solved this issue right here? Okay. And then, correct. So, and we were, after this, but this should be if guess equals high. All right, let's test this now. And this is how you build something. Even the things that I've looked at, that after I've built it, I'm like, oh my God, there's no way. So get it to work. Get it to work in a static environment. Then start throwing all sorts of things at it. I am on Windows. Windows 11, 12, I don't know. My son built this for me. I do not know which Windows, but yes, you're talking about the operating system? Yes. What are you using? Nico, what are you using? Are you a Mac or are you on Linux? Let's see. So what would be the opposite of this? So we need to test if we get a wrong answer. So we went too low, so it really shouldn't matter. So high, guess low, so we're on low, guess high. All right. So let's see. This path too high. Let's go the other way. Yeah. So the guess is too high, so they move down to 6. Now the guess is too low, too low, too low, too low. And that didn't work. Okay, because we made a decision. Here we go. The little trick is to press the window key plus the dot key, and it will open the menu, let you type emojis. I'm sorry, like to type emojis anywhere? Because I guess I don't do a lot of emoji typing. But all right, so now we have a new dilemma, and it's tied to this hi thing right here. So this is, we had to make a decision, like when we're doing our endpoints. So we need to handle this here. So we need to think about this, because we needed to do our floor division to get to our midpoint. And it was just a decision that we made. And that's one important thing. Programming and problem solving and building things. So consistency, sticking with the decision, and then having a plan. So you can't, if you go, oh, well, what if this happens? Oh, well, we need to change. No, stick to your decision and then have an outlier plan against it. And it applies for everything. Case by case. General handling, then a case by case. And this works with any sort of decisions. People-based, problem-based, it doesn't matter. A general and then a case-by-case basis. Does that make sense? All right. Yeah, as long as it supports emojis, like if you type in the terminal and it fails, but not on YouTube, some places. Oh, that's awesome. Okay. All right. So we need to handle this right here. So hi -1. Let's run this. F9. Starting point 1, 20. Let's get going. So to what had we been doing? Everybody remember what we've been doing? Let's see. How far will this go back? So we went too high, too high. So our first guess was low, so we need to do the reverse of it. Too high, too low, too low, too low, too low. Bingo. You gave a wrong answer somewhere. Should that be somewhere? You gave a wrong answer somewhere. At some point, you gave a wrong answer. At some point, you gave a wrong answer. At some place, you have given a wrong answer. No. You have given a wrong answer. Yeah, let's change that to you have given a wrong answer. You have given a wrong answer. There you go. You have given a wrong answer. And now, okay, so now this works. So Nico, this was a very cool question, and I like it. These are the type of things that you should be. Now I want you to compare this to how it started. And always. You know how on one of the streams I said do not delete code? What happens is, as if I was doing that, I was causing a problem, and it just became unfixable. I have the original here, so I could always go back and look at it. But I want you to take a second. Every time that something came up, I addressed it. So the first time I thought I was handling this, I thought I saw where it was, and I tracked where we changed from the first guess or when it was working, the guesses were defaulting to 11. And then I found out, or the first guess was 10. And I was like, okay, stop. What changed? I changed one thing at a time. But if I were to have attempted to write all of this all at one time, then I would have had no clue, and I would have been just chasing my tail. But as I moved this, I got a different answer. I was like, okay, whoa. Why? Okay, this should have made sense. But again, Python is a program, and it's going to do exactly like the program is told. So I told it to come over here. So every time through this loop, I was moving my high point over one. All right, so that wasn't the goal. I needed to do it once. And then, so with I'm inside this block right here, so I do it once and then go back up here and start. So that was the first challenge. And then the second challenge was I was just arbitrarily, what was Y? Oh my God. So I had Y. So I should have cleared my memory before I started this because I was getting a false positive. So that is a little good bit of code. So I should have come up here and dumped everything, remove all variables and kernels. So let's actually do this. Yep, I want to proceed. So let's go back over here. So this will fail now. My back is kind of disappearing into the background. Oh yeah, because this is actually a gray sweatshirt and it looks blue. Let's see, how long have we been on this stream? Is it pixelating? Let's see. No? All right. And because the sun just came out, so a bunch of stuff probably said, dear fellas, thank you for the live. I have to drop here. Hey, thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody for being here. Nico, thanks for letting everybody know what's going on. Thank you for being patient while I stepped away, take care of some stuff. But all right, let's see. How long are we here? We're an hour and 34 right now. So let's just kind of. So now this is actually going to fail, and let's run it. Because I had bad information in here, so I got a false positive. So 120, and that's what was throwing me off. So too high, too low, too low, too low, too low. Nope, I went the wrong way. Okay, no. F9. 9. It looks purple. Oh, my shirt. It looks purple. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I guess I was thinking like a navy blue. So let's get this path to show you what it was supposed to show you earlier when I failed. So let's see, can we get it to go to, nope. This is low, high. Okay. Thank you very much, Nico. I really appreciate it. And see, my ADHD is already forgotten. You gave me a compliment, and I got distracted. So, all right, low and a bunch of highs. There we go. So low, then high, 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 high. I should have failed. You gave a wrong answer. Oh, hang on. Now it should fail. Bingo. This is what should have happened to know what I needed to fix. But since I had in my cache, I had a Y variable that was sitting out there. So that would have drawn my eyes to this right here. Now, let's talk about this for a second. Do I have Notepad++? Let's get a new one. All right. Let's bring this here, because I had to get good at this. So I want you to look at this. It says line 24, and you're like, well, wait a minute, that's way not line 24. So let's run this file, F5. Okay. And see, this is also very helpful when you have a good file and good file management. If you have a good interpreter, it'll say, hello, you have garbage here, and I do not know what this means. So even before it was a problem, we can go ahead and stop this. Now run this. So if it would have run, it would have thrown. Now let's go back. We're going to run this. Let's say you're in idle, because I was just talking about it doesn't matter your interpreter. So we're gonna abide by the rules that I actually say. 20, continue. Low, high, high, high. Yep. Low, high, 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 high. Yes. So check this out. This is one of, and yeah, everybody who has things happen. So it tells you what line, 31. It'll tell you where it fails. This is extremely important to your programming journey, is to understand where things are wrong, why they're wrong, what the error that's actually happening, and what you need to name why is not yet defined. So it says, hey, you need to go here. This doesn't make any sense because I have no idea what this y is. And then it would have drawn to my attention, oh, hey, oopsie, I'm actually testing a string here. So then when I would do this again, oh, and there my issue goes away, and I rerun this, and so on and so forth. So let's just kind of recap. So we have now defended against improper use, and Nico asked this question yesterday. Nico, was this yesterday or was this the day before where you asked what would happen if I just kept pressing yes or too high or too low? I can't remember. All the days blur together for me now. All right, so we went, so now let's go too high, too low, too low, too low, too low. And yes, you have given a wrong answer. Would you like to start over? Yes. Now let's test this path. Let's use 4. No, how about we use 1? Let's use 1. So this is too high, too high. Let's make sure everything is still working. Too high, and correct. And now let's do 20. Let's make sure we can get both endpoints. So we guessed 1 and we guessed 20. Starting number, ending number, too low, too low, too low, too low, and correct. So that's the reason why we had to increment up one number, is because if you do not, I think this is the day before yesterday. Okay, cool. So Nico pointed out what would happen if you kept saying too high, too high, too high, or too low. Yesterday I did talk about my question about it though. Okay, cool. And what happened is, well, just like we did earlier while we were testing, you just get stuck in this loop, because how can you, when you paint, so how can you tell me I'm too high over here, move this endpoint here, and then be too low? Because you've told me it wasn't in this group, and then now you're saying it has to be over here. Well, how? You gave me bad information. So what happens is you just get stuck, you get stuck. But the part about, does everybody understand why we're incrementing 1 here? Because we're the decision of how we're handling this. So we just made a decision, and then we stuck to it. Oh, Samuel. Yes. If I think it defaults to the first five letters of the user, if I recall. It's kind of standard practices of last name, if I remember, because it's kind of like my user ID or my old user ID at work. It was a first initial and then the first 3 letters of the last name. So if you look, that should be SAMUE. So that's 5. And every other terminal that I've had, it grabbed the first 5 characters. So that is a Windows decision. They say they had to make a decision somewhere to keep moving, because anybody ever heard of analysis paralysis? If you try to solve, your main decision needs to solve the largest number of scenarios, and then you go case by case, and you want to hopefully only have a handful of these, but allow your very large bucket to grab almost everything. Because if you come in here and you try to program like this for every scenario, one, it could slow down everything. But 2, it could, when I sign my severance package, I think I can show you guys some stuff, but there was some really cool stuff that what I did and the way that I handled things. I put things into very, very large buckets when I was writing my case statements in SQL. Very large buckets. And everybody was impressed that I was able to grab everything and have very, very few of these, because I was going after I'm really good at finding ratios and scenarios. My kids, if any of my kids were standing right behind me, they would be laughing hysterically. I always talk about ratios, because how things go together. That's the universe, how things operate together. Input, output. I do this will happen. Huge scenario, except for if somebody didn't pay attention, and Nico pointed out, what happens if they give you a bad answer? What happens if they keep saying it's too high or too high, too low or too, and it would just sit there and do a circle loop, infinite loop, because I put it into a big bucket and I didn't defend against this. So, Nico, I absolutely love this. I think that was a great question, because this is life. Now, typical arrogant engineers that I grew up with, you shouldn't use it that way. That was the 80s and the 90s. Don't. And then UX, UI, I'm getting some water. Okay. Then culture, there was a cultural shift. UX and UI, how things are working. And if you were good at doing something for the user, building something that the user loved, then you had something. What problem were you solving? Where you don't over-engineer something. Have you guys seen that meme about the SpaceX rocket? And it shows the complexity of the first generation to the second generation to the third generation. That is the essence of engineering. What do I absolutely need? How can I optimize this? Because awesome. Glad you're back, Nico. How can I make this better? How can I make this cleaner? How can I make this more efficient? How can I make this user-friendly? The end user, the maintenance person, all of these things matter. So I know that is Can you show me some cool SQL? Well, don't get hung up on that. Let me see. Where do I have? Hang on. I need to get dbeaver on here. I bet then that would work. Let me see if there's a free beaver. Can I get free universal tool? Because I need to get on here, and especially on dbeaver community, milestone, Windows installer, downloads, Windows setup. All right, I actually have dbeaver downloading. So what do you guys know about SQL? How much does anybody know anything about SQL? Because it is structured query language, if I recall correctly. Let's see if I'm right. Anybody want to? And oh my God, I saw a meme and I was dying laughing. If anybody says SQL, run, they're the cops. SQL. Let's see. Structured query language. Yes. I did recall that correctly. I had a message. Ooh, roses are red, violets are blue. Unexpected bracket on line 32. That, Nico, that is funny. That, I like that a lot. That is hilarious. Let's see. Anybody? So SQL is just another. Oh, I have a new file. There we go. All right. I hate it. I hate having it at the bottom. Check Discord, by the way. Oh, yep. I just got so there is a delay in text and the stream. All right. Got it. Okay. All right. SQL. Understanding. Here's an important thing about it's still problem solving. Don't get hung up on. And this is not a brag. This is not a brag. This is not a brag because I thought everybody was lying that once you learn one programming language, you can learn them all, because the underlying fact of problem solving is there. That's you. That's your engine. That's your eloquence. And you just happen to learn other words to use. Same techniques. Understanding the essence of when you're writing, and then you're just going to use different words, but you're going to have the same stuff come across. All right, I got dbeaver opening. Yep, here comes dbeaver. Next. I agree. Yeah, just for me, include Java associated files, reset settings. Why not? Yes. Okay, so there we go. We're gonna put some. Because I got spoiled using dbeaver at work, and I like it a lot. Has a lot of functionality. So what we were doing is we had dbeaver connected to our BigQuery, and we also had them hooked up to our Azure databases. So BigQuery was a mirrored of all of our really, really cool stuff. We weren't allowed to touch the real tables. Like we were told no and stop asking. The answer will always be no. You can't be trusted. So then we started making our own tables for everything that we needed, and it was absolutely awesome. Well, I don't want to get too far into the weeds. So where are we? We're at an hour and God, are we already at an hour and 52? Gee whiz. Okay. So we may be stopping here, but yes, dbeaver tomorrow. SQL. and we'll look at some stuff. I may use... So there are a lot of concepts about SQL that I think are misrepresented when people are learning. Don't become too obsessed with what you're actually trying to do. Think about the problem and think about the output, and you have to visualize it, because I mean it's just columns and rows, So, all right. Any other high level questions? Because I need to go do a couple things, and then I gotta go change, and then I'm gonna go off to jiu-jitsu today. We have open mat, and that stuff is where I go to die. Because it's almost always upper belts. All right. Any other good questions that we have? We got a couple people dropping in before I got to drop. I hate that. But is there anything you guys want me to? So we're gonna do some SQL tomorrow, and then we'll go from there. All right, and let's see. Did I drag that over? It's almost matched. I don't know why, if on a scheduled live stream, you don't get the live button to make what you're in your little window. Can I do that? No, I don't want to do that. I may have something here that I don't need to share. Can't think of what it is, but I just don't want to. All right. There we go, guys. Thank you everybody for joining today. It's been almost 2 hours. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap up. But thank you, Nico, for the awesome question. It's always a little more complicated than you think, but there's always a way to solve it. There's always a way to solve what you're doing. The order of operations: start with your big bucket, and then deal with your case-by-case basis, and be aware of what issues you may be causing in the short term. So we needed to handle. So that was a self-inflicted, right there. That was self-inflicted. And then this was a challenge we needed to think of. And then this right here. So there we go. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. We will look at some SQL tomorrow. Nico, thank you for everything. And do we have any Discord? No. Make sure, if you are new here, thanks for jumping. Make sure you're jumping over to Discord, hitting that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Make sure you're liking this video for me. I greatly appreciate it. And I will just see you guys tomorrow. I can't think of anything else. Anything real quick, anybody, before I drop? Because I have like 2 minutes if there's absolutely anything anybody wants to talk about. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, and I will check you guys tomorrow. If there's anything that comes up between now and then, go ahead and throw it in Discord, and then I will get stuff around and we'll look at it tomorrow. All right. Thanks, everybody.